Introducing Instagram teen accounts, a new way to keep your teen safer as they grow, like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, buckle up. Good job.
New Instagram teen accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Dearest gentle listener, you are cordially invited to Go Touch Grass's first ever Tea Party Brunch event, taking place Saturday, May 3rd at 11 a.m. at Prince Tea House in the East Village for an afternoon of sipping tea, spilling guts, and generally lamenting the state of the world. This limited ticket event is reserved for the best of Grass Nation's Ton and will feature a full brunch with tea, a drag performance, exclusive goodie bags, and a special event curated by their Royal Highnesses, emphasis on the high, Millie Tamarez and Elise Morales, to help you process everything that's happened in 2025 so far in an Instagram-worthy environment you know you'll want to post to Grid. So, grab your besties, wear your florals, and snag your tickets to tea. Ticketing details available at patreon.com/GoTouchGrass. Ta-ta!
This is a HeadGum podcast.
You got mail.
Hi, I'm Millie Tamarez.
And I'm Elise Morales.
And this is Go Touch Grass, the podcast where we log in.
So you can log off.
Elise and I are two chronically online comedians, and on this pod, we break down the week in internet discourse, viral memes, TikTok trends, and niche influencer drama so that you can literally do anything else with your time.
And if you like what you hear today and you want to hear more, we've got to Go Touch Grass Patreon with access to our Discord community, tons more content weekly, and our spin-off series Search History, where we go back and break down a viral discourse from the past. Do you want to speak about this week's Patreon, Millie?
Our latest search history was about a comedian who went viral for pretending to be in jail, and it's a whole thing. I got personally involved. I started getting harassed by his fans. So go check it out at the $10 level, or you can pay $10 to listen to us, because we do put a premium on us chucking shit.
Yeah.
We name names, and we're not going to give that away for free, but it is crazy.
We make our opinions known about someone who is tangentially socially related to us, and for that, you do have to pay us $10. It is a full 10 for you to hear that. But speaking of talking shit, spilling tea, etc., there are still tickets left for our tea party, May 3rd at 11 a.m. at Prince Tea House in the East Village. They are limited tickets, so if you are planning to go, get them now. We are in the process of filling up these goodie bags.
Yeah.
We have our drag queen on lock. It's going to be a really, really fun event.
And if you can't wait, if you're chomping at the bit to see us live, we will also be at Y'all Fest on April 4th at 9:45 p.m. for a live podcast recording. We're going to do a really fun, pure bit podcast style.
Yeah.
Tickets are available at yesandlaughterlab.com/festival.
And as you know, 2025 is the year of Go Touch Grass on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. The episodes come out on Saturdays. They're good. Millie puts all the stuff in, though
I have to tell you, if you're wondering where our Kyle Gordon episode is, we got a copyright strike.
We did.
I did fucking edit it and schedule it and whatever, and I am currently in disputes with YouTube to get it released because I used two 30-second clips of Kyle Gordon's songs.
Which you guys will remember, those of you who listen to the episode, he verbally consented to letting us play the songs, but YouTube's AI that copyright struck us doesn't know that. So anyway, usually the episodes will come out on Saturday if we are not copyright struck by our horrible AI overlords, and you should subscribe to the YouTube.
And also just give us a 5-star rating and review. You know we love them. You know we need them. Tell your friends about the show. Post about it. We'll repost you. You know we're online.
And guys, speaking of friends, speaking of family, speaking of people who are close to us, we have an amazing guest today. She's a writer. She's a comedian. She's a content creator. She's a former coworker of ours and a huge friend of the pod. She is also a legitimate member of Gen Z. We have to say, I would say that I think we've had Gen Z on the pod before, but I think you are its best representative that we have. Guys, put your hands together wherever you're listening to this episode for Ruby Karp.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much.
Wow, welcome.
It's so good to be here.
Yes.
It's so
We're so
good.
happy to have you.
Yeah, it's going to be a perfect episode because last week was a very millennial-centric episode.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We have you here to speak for the youth.
Ruby, your writing and acting credits are so incredibly impressive. When you were 10, you had a weekly column in Hello Giggles called Ruby's Corner. You had an article titled "I'm 13 and none of my friends use Facebook,"
which then created
went viral.
More serious, allegedly real beef between me and Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But you called it because that was real.
Guys, I'm spoiling what I talk about in my show, but you guys can have this. When that article went viral, by the way, I was a child blogger because I did think that it would help me become a Broadway actress, because when you are a child, you don't know how fame works and you just think that it's all the same. So I only wrote that article because I was like, this will obviously lead to me being a Broadway star. And then it went viral. And then Slate's senior technology writer wrote a response article that's title was, "Sorry, Mashable's 13-year-old correspondent is wrong about Facebook."
Oh my God.
Not people slamming you as the 13-year-old correspondent.
I didn't even get to my question yet.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, because you also wrote how 13-year-olds really use Snapchat. And you even had a published book when you were a teenager. My question is, how did it feel at the time writing, which you kind of answered, and how does it feel looking back now, which I feel like you've grimaced so hard that you should be a character at McDonald's. So it doesn't feel like you have happy thoughts about being a child blogger.
No, not at all. Not a single positive thought at all. I'm doing my show right now at Soho Playhouse called I Don't Trust Adults. That is pretty much entirely about looking back at my digital footprint and all the ways in which adults were insane towards me. And again, I think what you have to understand is that children, particularly Gen Z, people who are online from the age of 5, they are smart. They are aware of what's going on, but they also are children. So they don't understand the full scope of what it is they are actually doing. Like I was saying, I published this article and then allegedly the Today Show reached out to me and was like, hey, we want to do a segment on your article. And I was like, oh my God, finally I'm going to be famous. And then allegedly Mark Zuckerberg and the Facebook team reached out and were like, we will take legal action if you guys air that segment.
Oh,
my God.
So for me at the time, and then months later, a statistic came out that Facebook was in fact losing teenage users, and look at where we are now.
Well,
wow.
So finger on the pulse from the beginning, but I will say that I look back on my digital footprint and I know no one is Googling me, so it doesn't really matter, but it does.
They're going to Google you now.
Here's my thing. I take a single hit of weed and I'm like, oh my God, people can perceive me from my puberty ages until right now. It's actually horrible.
Yeah, it's what you're saying. I love how you put it, where it's you know what's going on enough to comment, but when you're a kid, you don't understand the long-term implications of what it means to have your opinion online.
Yeah, or to truly understand that there's a rage baity element to what they're asking you to write. You probably think you're just oh yeah, my friends don't use Facebook. Isn't that what we don't use it? It's for older people, and not realizing that that will piss some people off.
That was the point of the article.
Yeah, exactly.
But you didn't know that.
No, of course not. I was like, this is going to help me get into college. Same with my book. My book, which, by the way, is not only a book, was a self-help memoir.
Oh, my God.
Memoir.
How old were you when
16.
So what was the advice that you had in the memoir?
Okay.
This is fascinating.
I know. Truly.
What I will say is that I was very earnest, and it is very wholesome. Each chapter basically covers a topic of being a teenager. So one chapter, so it sounds sweet in theory, right?
Yeah.
One chapter is about feminism. One chapter is about parents. One chapter is about heartbreak. But then you think about it and it's oh, I wrote 30 pages about my camp boyfriend.
Oh my God.
That is in a book for people to purchase for the rest of my life.
Oh
my God.
And that feels unfair.
I'm just thinking in my head about who the 30 pages of my memoir would have been about when I was 13. And it's like, I'm really shuddering to think about this boy that I dated in 7th grade who used to write Tool on his knuckles because he loved Tool.
Nice.
30, there would be 30 pages. I actually don't know
the Tool knuckle guy.
I have not kept up with the Tool knuckle guy.
Everyone's wondering where the Tool knuckle guy is.
I have not kept up with him. Terrence, wherever you are, I don't know if you're writing on your knuckles now. I've got no idea what his knuckles look like.
Yeah. My 30 pages in 7th grade boyfriend would be this guy named White Mike who had gold teeth and told everyone he only dated me because I had DSLs. I can confidently say he's either in jail, dead, or in a Walmart. Like, only those places.
Oh, good.
But I was going to say that it's so funny because you, even though now you're looking back at it, like, you were living the Carrie Bradshaw life when you were a child that all these girls around the country, around the world wish, like, they're like, I wish I could be in New York City and be a blogger. And like, you were doing it.
No, I was doing it.
13-year-old.
You're like a child star, but of like Jezebel.
So,
which is cool.
So that's why I refer to myself often as like a quote unquote failed child star, because I think when you think of child stars, you think of the famous ones. You think of the ones who made it, who were in movies and TV shows. But what you don't think about is the hundreds of children who were trying to be famous, who were in those spaces, but not succeeding.
Yeah, but it's also, I feel like you were pursuing like a different fame avenue for a child. Like
New York.
Yes.
Yeah, you were pursuing like the online route first. I'm sure you were hoping to parlay it into film and television work eventually.
I read in your Wikipedia you were in Broad City, so let's relax.
I was in Broad City live, not the actual television show. Let me reiterate that. My Wikipedia is the most cursed Wikipedia. Every fact on there has not been updated since I was 17 years old. I've done much cooler stuff since then. Let the record show that I am just constantly, I can't even, like, my friend Googled me the other day and I slapped her phone out of her hand. I was like, don't you fucking dare.
Okay, well, you should update it because I did base the first question on that.
And if I knew how to update my Wikipedia, I would.
You know what, Grass Nation, we're calling out to you. Please update Ruby's Wikipedia. Don't make this girl update her own Wikipedia. Please don't put that in her place to do. Leave Ruby some dignity. Please, somebody update her Wikipedia.
Emotionally, I cannot look at that.
Yeah, listen to the episode and update it accordingly.
It just had all your articles.
Yeah.
And it just had all your articles. I could totally see why it didn't, like that it wasn't updated, but it wasn't like...
It wasn't
anything crazy. It just doesn't have anything recent. It just has your book and stuff.
Well, that's the thing, is that it's like, to you guys, you're like, oh, this is cute and fun and cool. But it's like, when it's yourself, when it's you and your child self, you're just like, well, this sucks.
Yeah,
this literally, I wish this didn't happen. But at the same time, it is how I am able to do or get a lot of the jobs I get now.
Yeah, which is, okay, so that like parlays me into our next question. So like I said, last week we had on Kyle Gordon. We talked about millennial burger joint trend. You do a lot of Gen Z characters. Your Gen Z doctor was very viral. So let's take some time now. Like, how real is the Gen Z versus millennial beef? How do we squash it? How do we end this and come together?
You know, I feel like the beef is more from, I'd say, a younger Gen Z, because most of the older Gen Z I know were idolizing BuzzFeed millennials. Like, I had a mustache straw. I had a Tacos Are Life t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm such an empath towards the millennial movement.
Thank you so much.
And I understand where you're coming from. I understand why it was cool.
Yes.
I think a lot of the beef comes from, I think all generations have beef. I feel like the way we squash this is just to age.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think, everyone, the young person always has a chip on their shoulder about being the young person.
Yeah.
And then the older person always has a chip on their shoulder because they have knowledge.
Yeah.
And so it's about, I think the way this beef is going to be squashed is Gen Z and millennials coming together to face the monster that is Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha is really scary.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm like, I don't even think I speak the same language as Gen Alpha.
I don't even.
Do you even know what Ohio Riz is?
No, my job is to be chronically online. I do social media for my day job.
Yeah, like it's that's the tagline of the podcast.
Yeah.
And even still, I'm like, that area of the internet it scares me. It scares me.
I will also say, like, you're saying you idolize millennials and BuzzFeed, bitch, you are. You literally have you're on the Mashable masthead and you pissed off Mark Zuckerberg. I would say, like, you are the second, maybe the third guest that we've had that has a beef with Mark Zuckerberg. Marsha Belsky had a whole beef with Mark Zuckerberg that was publicized, and now we have a second one.
Yeah, it's actually not that hard for a regular person to have beef with Mark Zuckerberg.
No.
Like, not as easy as it would be for Elon Musk.
No.
But second easiest to have beef with personally, I think, is Mark Zuckerberg. And then Bezos, I don't think he's in space.
He's on a yacht
around.
Yeah.
He's motorboating his weird ass wife.
Yeah,
he's
like,
not doing any of that.
He doesn't have beef with the regular people. But the other big tech billionaires, you can get into real fights with them.
Oh, because they're online.
They're looking. See, that's the other thing. Yeah, Jeff Bezos, because he's not like a social media tech guy, I don't think that he's as plugged into online as the other ones are.
I will say that Jeff Bezos, somebody did like kind of like a pro-labor or like a pro-union article. Jeff Bezos did use social media to be like, this woman's wrong and blah, blah, blah. So he gets into it, but not about like kids using bathrooms or anything, but he will shut down a labor union quicker than you will fucking whatever. Yeah,
labor union conversations.
He's
shutting it down.
He's adding you. He's saying, I'm doing a thread.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, but I think what you have to remember, at least for I'd say the older Gen Z. I was born in 2000, and so for me,
terrible. Like,
sorry, I just said
you have
that.
to trigger warning that.
Before my eyes.
What the fuck?
But for me, Instagram and Snapchat were created, I think, when I was became a real thing around 6th or 7th grade for me. So I was not like an iPad baby. I had a childhood without internet. I had TV, but I had a computer. That was my mom's computer. And like, I remember being 6 and my mom had like a migraine and she was like, do you know how to use Google? And I like Googled like how to help mom with migraine.
Oh my God.
And so like, yes, in a way I was online as a child, but I didn't get access to social media until I was about 10. And the thing is about social media at that time was that it was a very, very, very different place. Like Instagram was a place where I would post 100 photos a day and it was my eye from different angles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're filtered in this crazy way.
Yeah.
Like
it's
was
just silly. It's silly and fun.
Yeah.
And so for me, like a big thing in middle school was me and my friend group. We called ourselves the Sassy Super Swans.
Amazing,
which is really
very,
cool.
Very
that's
good.
cool. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Not the book. Not the book or any of the articles that you wrote that were actually impressive, but you and your friend
me and my friends calling ourselves a name. We would
the Sassy Super Squad.
We would
Super Swans. Sorry, I'm trying to say it 5 times fast. The Sassy Super Swans.
No, it is almost like a vocal warm up.
It's a warm up.
We would put each other's initials. There were like 6 of us. We would put each other's initials in our Instagram bios, and then when we were mad at one of us, we would take that girl's names out of our bio.
Wow, so you guys redid the MySpace top 8.
Exactly.
So you brought the MySpace. This is going back to your thing of like millennial worship.
Exactly.
We will the top 8.
I'm telling you, we will have to combine forces in the war against Gen Alpha.
Yeah,
that's true. You know what is one of the most evil and kind of sadistic things I've ever done is back in my high school internet days, I learned code to change my MySpace top 8 into a top 3. And it was my 2 boyfriends that I was alternately dating and a third friend who I would alternate out based on who was in my favor or not. Because I was completely fucking insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You don't even know when my friend my friend bumped me down her top 8 and put Jesus as 1.
Oh.
I'm like, you fucking bitch.
Jesus over me?
Jesus, don't talk to you, bitch.
Jesus doesn't use this website. Like,
no,
what are you talking
Or when my crush, like, I had like a little crush, and then he like bumped me over the girl that he was dating. I was like, the
drama.
The politics were rough. I will also say that, look, being a viral child star, like, you're laughing at yourself saying it was silly because you wanted to be on Broadway. I'm going to say response Charlie D'Amelio. I'm going to say response Ariana, whatever the fuck from...
Grande?
No.
Oh.
From Vanderpump. Like,
Maddox, yeah.
Maddox.
Ariana
There's
Maddox.
like all these viral social media stars.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Made it to Broadway as well.
Well, she's an influencer in a different way.
She's influencing the
courts.
legal system.
Yes. Yes. And then maybe in a major way a micro-influencer because of the current justice system right now.
Of course.
But they're all stunt casted. I'm saying it can happen.
It's not impossible.
No.
The vision was not misguided entirely.
No.
And this show is an off-Broadway show.
It
so
is
we're
technically-
moving towards.
You're on the street.
We're in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which
You're on
is-
the same
you're on the
island.
island.
Yeah,
You're
we're on the island.
Yeah, Soho and the theater district are on the same island.
They are.
Mhm.
Famously.
And
that's what matters.
And that's the truth.
And that's what matters.
All right. Should we get
Let's
into our
get
discourse?
into our fucking discourse.
Wow. I can't wait. I'm excited.
You shouldn't be. This is super dark.
Oh, well, great.
Yes, I'm going to say trigger warning for family loss.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Maybe
say
I'm
that.
less excited.
Yeah, I'm like trigger warning for family
Okay.
loss. Take care if you're triggered by any of this. But anyway, so our discourse today, which is the segment of the show where we talk about a main topic that's being talked about on the internet, it gets into kind of the world of mommy influencing, which we have covered quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's actually such a rich, deep, oftentimes dark place. And I just wonder if, like, there's like I wish I was, maybe I will go to grad school. Fuck it. Fuck it. We all need a job. Maybe I'll go to grad school. But I'm just like, there is something about like the darkness and the of like motherhood and those like depressing realities postpartum, all that shit, like bleeding into the social media space. Anyway, okay. So today we're talking about influencer Brooklyn Larson.
Okay.
So she was a former contestant of So You Think You Can Dance, which is an American competition dance show that is similar to American Idol, but dancing. But like, it's like half about how good the dancing is. And then also like they center the stories around the characters. So like, it's not like, for example, America's Best Dance Crew or something. Like, it's basically like every contestant gets a little mini doc about their life and their struggles. So I would say, like, to be a contestant on there, like, people know your fucking life. Like, they know your family. They know your story.
Is Tate McRae a So You Think You Can Dance girl? She danced in a competition television format, correct?
She has been dancing like super professionally since she was like 6.
Okay. Is she like a dance mom's girl?
No.
Something like that. But her mom had a dance studio.
Yes, adjacent. Like So You Think You Can Dance, and also like toured with Justin Bieber when she was like 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not Caucasian enough to know that.
So, yeah, we'll put a pin in Tate McRae discourse for now, but I think that she appeared in some sort of dance show.
She did.
as
You're
well.
right. Yes. But Brooklyn.
But this person,
Brooklyn Larson also was on tour with Dancing with the Stars.
Oh.
So I think there's like a whole thing of like these TV shows, like you said, bleed into like actual tours, whatever. So she's 29 years old and she used to go by the name Brooklyn Fulmer. I think that's her maiden name. She was married to a guy named Corey Calvert in 2018, but then they got divorced and she has a son named Rome. She gave birth to him in 2021 and she later began dating Tanner Larson and they married in August of 2023. So right now her handle is Brooklyn Larson, but if you go back Brooklyn Fulmer, like all the articles reference Brooklyn Fulmer, that was confusing for me. I'm just like bringing it, like clarifying that.
Name confusion will come up later in our episode as well.
Okay.
Preview.
So Brooklyn has 104,000 followers on Instagram and 48.8 thousand followers on TikTok.
Okay.
She posts like lifestyle content. She's Utah based. Just like you can put Utah into AI. Yeah. Utah mommy blogger, young, pretty, white, has an adorable toddler with her very cute husband. But her sister, McKenna Bangerter, it's Bangerter. Bangerter. McKenna Bangerter, her sister, is also a content creator, and her sister has even more followers. So Kenna Bang is what her handle is. She has 202,000 followers on Instagram, 855,000 followers on TikTok, and 44,000 YouTube subscribers.
Okay, we take those numbers.
We take those numbers.
We take all of those numbers.
Kenna Bang posts more like weekly vlogs and is like definitely more serious about content creating. Like that's her job. Like she is content forward. And I feel like Brooklyn kind of dips her toe, whatever. Mm-hmm. So Brooklyn and her husband, Tanner, have been trying to get pregnant for a while. And in July 2024, Brooklyn posted a slideshow like story. The first slide says, "We miscarried in December and it took me 3 months to recover, stop bleeding from surgery. I had a very unique and long experience recovering in general from losing our baby, which sucks so bad. We were lucky enough and got pregnant on our first try once I got my period back," and it had like a heart emoji. Aww. So this is like the beginning of like a 10-slide story where basically it shows like she got pregnant again, and then she was like hiding it for her family until like she was going to announce that she's pregnant again during a family trip. And so she like had to hide it. And then halfway through the family trip, she announces, and then her sister, Kenna Bangs, announced, "I'm also pregnant." And then it was revealed that they had like very close due dates.
Oh, that's
great.
It was
very cute. Like it's a very cute story.
How lovely.
So then the rest of Brooklyn's content after the July 2024 post is just, again, lifestyle content, her pregnant baby, her hanging out with her husband, meals she's cooking, all that stuff. So sadly, on November 28th, 2024, her and her husband posted this collab post.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, no.
Our hearts are completely shattered. Our perfect little boy didn't make it.
Ugh.
Late Sunday evening at 40 weeks and 2 days, Brooklyn went into labor on her own. We arrived at the hospital full of excitement, only to be told the devastating news that they couldn't find his heartbeat. The following couple of hours were a complete blur. It didn't make sense. Every single checkup, every ultrasound, every test had shown nothing but a healthy baby. He was always measuring big, always moving, always so active. We never imagined this could happen. In an instant, our best day became our worst. At 11:23 a.m. on Monday morning, Brooklyn delivered our son in less than 9 minutes. 8 pounds, 10 ounces of pure perfection. He was strong, beautiful, and was the perfect mix of Tanner and Rome. Holding him, memorizing every feature of his, feeling his spirit, he was everything we had dreamed of. We were blessed to spend the next 12 precious hours with him, surrounded by our family, pouring all of our love into him. We can't fully express the depth of our pain we feel losing our son and Rome losing his little brother, our son, our angel. So he was a stillborn.
Oh my God.
That's so horrible and sad. And like, it is such a wild thing if you're doing lifestyle and pregnancy content.
Oh my God,
to
have to share that?
Yeah, like that you have to share it. And not even that you have to share it, that you have to share it kind of in a timely manner because you've been sharing so much up until then that at a certain point people are going to be like, what's going on if you don't post? I mean, I think that's a beautifully written post, but God, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah, and this got 164,000 likes, and like that's another thing too is like when you make content like this, any kind of pregnancy content, like the whole thing is to be aspirational, but like also like it's not just that you are putting yourself out there, but it's like you're actually like making an avenue for better and for worse, for people who've experienced something similar to contact you, be like, this happened to me. So it's like constantly re-traumatizing and everything.
Well, it's quite brave, I think, to be the person to put this story out there.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I'm sure there are lots of people seeing that and being like, oh my God, it is so not like comforting, but it's
You're not
it helps to know that this did not just happen to you, and that someone who is so aspirational, someone who is so, influencers in general are so, the point is that you like want to quote unquote be them or aspire to be like them. And so to see something so human happen to someone like that, I'm sure if it's happened to you, is very humanizing or validating. I don't know what the right term is, but I really commend her for doing that for other people particularly.
Yeah. And like, I think we talk a lot about like, oh, well, this is what happens when your content is your whole life. Like you have to put it out there, even things you don't want to put. But I will say like quote unquote, like did everything right in terms of like, she didn't post as soon as she got like pregnant. Like she waited like a few months. She was really careful. She's not posting like every single second. So it was like, it's not like you're explaining everything kind of conversation. It's like, but you still have to post at some point. So it's just like really unfortunate. So after this really sad tragedy, Brooklyn's Instagram, again, like she's not really posting like day-to-day stuff. She just basically, what's happening is that she just posts like how she's dealing with the loss of her son. And she's really using social media to very publicly process this extremely tragic event. And what she does is like going month to month, like on December 25th, she's like, it's been 1 month since you're gone. And like kind of like a diary blog post, but on Instagram. And then on January 25th, she posts this really sad, like,
oh my God,
funeral that they had for her baby. They had for Rocky, which is the name of the baby.
Oh.
So yeah, like, I guess like Brooklyn isn't posting like much else, but her sister McKenna, which again, like, that's also the fucking tragedy about this is like, her and her sister did have similar due dates.
Oh.
So, and her sister is a content creator. So her sister is posting like, this is me and baby, her normal content and all this stuff. And McKenna's still posting her weekly vlogs and all this stuff and like still has her bunch of followers while like Brooklyn is posting like processing this. So why are we talking about this today?
I know. I'm like, so is this just really sad?
Well, last week, McKenna didn't ask me anything on Instagram, which anyone can ask questions to her. Like that's a way that people engage with their followers.
And you also have to remember with content creators, like especially on this scale, this is how they make their living.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
she can't stop.
She can't stop.
Yeah.
Like to her credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like Instagram in particular, I feel like what I've heard from friends of ours who have gone to like literal meetings at Instagram is that you have to keep posting all the time
or they kill your account.
Or they will purposefully tank your account and your algorithm. So for you to say like, okay, I'm going to take a month off posting in honor of like my sister's grief. You can, but Instagram doesn't care and Instagram will tank your account. Mm-hmm. And you're about to have a baby yourself and maybe can't like take a financial hit of that nature. It's a tough place to be in.
It's a tough place to be in. So somebody reached out to Kenna and asked, has Brooklyn felt supported during her grieving process? I love you both. And I feel like their fans are mostly like really supportive. Again, these aren't the biggest mommy vloggers or whatever, but they have like a little dedicated fan base. And for the most part, their fans seem really nice. This is what Kenna wrote. Next slide. Kenna wrote and said, super disappointed in a certain brand during this unimaginable time for my sister, namely at Happiest Baby, who sent my sister a baby bassinet after my sister said she would tag them in content with her newborn baby. After sending an email regarding the content she wasn't able to send because her baby passed away, they demanded she send the bassinet back. the empty baby bassinet still sitting next to her bed because she didn't, quote, deliver the content.
Oh.
I want you to think about why she couldn't deliver the content. I'm absolutely disgusted by a baby brand who promotes support for moms and babies that doesn't even have the decency to give the space to grieve the bassinet she never got to fill. It's all business for brands like these, you know. I used and have promoted this company for years, and I feel regretful I ever did. On another note, at Factor Meals hasn't stopped sending her meals during all this, regardless of the fact that my sister never went live with her last obligation with them on the day Rocky passed away. I'm going to start sharing more of the companies who have really supported her, treating her situation with grace and empathy and not like a transaction. I see you and notice, so thank you. My rant is over.
Block them.
And
wait, literally good for her for posting them.
Yeah.
Yes. And just to context before I ask your opinion, we talked about Snoo before, but Snoo is a $1,700 baby smart sleeper bassinet.
Mm-hmm.
So Snoo, what is interesting about Snoo, why it's $1,700 is that it boosts sleep. Like it promises at least 1 to 2 more hours per night of sleep, because what happens is it automatically rocks and soothes the baby with the constant rumbly sound and gentle rocking. And then if the baby starts fussing and movement, it can like sense that and like rock it and also put white noise. So it's like supposed to be like a helper or something.
People are very into the Snoo.
Yeah.
Like people who are Snoo heads, they love the Snoo.
My boss has one and talks about it all the time.
And there's a whole like resale Snoo market too, like Facebook Marketplace flush with Snoos because it is like eventually you don't need it and people will sell it for like, you know, $900 or whatever. Like you're still paying like an insane amount. But yeah, people who swear by the Snoo, they really swear by the Snoo.
So thoughts about this?
I mean, fuck that company.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the Snoo company?
Yeah, Happiest Baby makes the Snoo company.
No.
Sorry, that wasn't clear. She added, so the people that make the Snoo, the company is called Happiest Baby. And she said that Happiest Baby, basically what a lot of influencers do, which Kareem did, who was our guest in the beginning of 2024, he said that he reached out to Snoo and was like, hey, I'll post about you guys, like, and make content with my baby if you guys give it to me for free. And they said yes. But like, basically, if you don't deliver on the content, they want it back, or like you're not making good with them. So basically, she didn't make the content that she said she was going to.
Because the baby passed away.
Oh my God.
And then they asked for the Snoo back.
I can't imagine. I don't know if that was a person who made that decision or a group of people who had a meeting about this, but I'm just like, from a simply like human level, think about just having a job. It's like you go to your job because you just like need a paycheck. And it's like whoever is in charge of like the marketing outreach there is just some person who's probably making like they're not making enough money to be this cruel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And okay, one single Snoo is an expensive item, but like
not to the Snoo factory.
Yeah, Snoo they're making money hand over foot. They could let go of one Snoo in this scenario. And also a company that deals with newborns, pregnancy, childbirth, all of that stuff should actually have contingency plans in place for if things of this nature happen, because they do fucking happen. Like more and more in the United States every day. So it's ridiculous. I mean, I know that like Chewy, which is the company for that, like I buy all my stuff for my pets on. If you cancel your subscription because your pet passed away, Chewy will like send a heartfelt message to you.
They'll send flowers and stuff.
Yeah, they sent me like a care package, and I'm not like an influencer I was just like a subscriber, and they sent me a like little package when my dog died. It was like very sweet.
And that's like the type of thing that they don't even have to do that.
No.
That's not even like requiring a return or whatever, but it's just like
the thing that makes the brand look good.
Yeah. It's like also a famous thing they do.
It's the human thing to do. Like death is so real. It's the most human thing that exists, and to do anything capitalism related involving death is bonkers to me, particularly when it's something like the Snoo, which is blowing up. Every mommy influencer talks about it. Like, if you don't know about the Snoo, then like you probably are not talking to someone who has a child or like are on that side of the internet. Everyone is talking about this shit. They're making so much money. There's like, it's not like they're losing anything by giving that up.
Yeah, and I will just say, like, you know, that's kind of, if we're getting like on a bigger level, it's like, this is kind of like, you know, using content around birth. You're like, death is this human thing that everyone goes through. But it's like, yeah, but when we're commodifying people's lives to use it as a way to sell more products, you know, and sell things, which is what essentially an influencer does, is capitalize on these things, the things that make us human, to sell, to make money, to this, that. And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault here, but like, that is kind of like people having these kind of thoughts and attitudes, and these instances are a natural result of where we are in society in this late stage capitalism, especially in America, where it's like everything must be commodified, everything must be content, even these very delicate moments, even the fact that she had to put, you know what I mean? All this shit. So it's just like, of course, like, we don't want to think like Snoo is asking for it, and I definitely don't agree and all this stuff, but it's also like, this is a sad fucking reality that is a result of where we're at, where every single thing has to be content.
Yeah, I just feel like it's really short-sighted on Snoo's part, because at the end of the day, a lot of people who suffer a loss like this do go on to try to have a child again, depending on what her unique medical situation is. Who knows? But either way, like, if they just chilled, she might have made the content with the Snoo sometime in the future, and they could have just like put the contract on hold and let it happen when it happened.
So basically, obviously, everyone had a very similar reaction to what we're having. People were fucking pissed. A lot of the biggest names in the So You Think You Can Dance series were saying shit. Like, I'm sure if you are following that, you'd be like, Whitney Carson, but I don't know who the fuck this is. So Whitney Carson said, very disappointed in your brand and the way that you've handled the situation with Brooklyn. Be better for future mothers. You lost me as a customer and a supporter. And Happiest Baby replied to a number of Instagram comments to apologize and deny the intention to further Brooklyn's grief. The company replied to Carson's comment, we're sorry to hear this, and as a brand that supports families during their parenting journey, we would never discuss content in a time like this, nor did we do so in this instance. But the backlash got so crazy that Happiest Baby sent People magazine like basically a statement. So they said, when we learned of Rocky's passing in December, we were heartbroken for Brooklyn and her family. We immediately sent flowers and our sincere condolences, and there was no mention of anything else. We just wanted her to know we were thinking of her, the statement reads. Out of respect for her privacy, we communicated directly to Brooklyn's manager, parentheses, not Brooklyn herself. We know that many parents who suffer such unimaginable and tragic loss often find the sight of an empty bassinet or crib as a painful reminder of their grief, and a lot of parents want to remove it. So we offered to have her Snoo picked up. The company's response continues. Okay. The content had no bearing on this decision and was never mentioned. According to the statement, a Happiest Baby team member said that they acted on what was other grieving families had requested in the past. And they also said, but that was a mistake. Every family's pain is unique. We reached out to Brooklyn directly to apologize for the added hurt we caused. We've also taken corrective action and coached and will continue to coach our team to ensure every future approach is always sensitive to each family's individual grieving process. This is not representative of who we are. It's not what we believe in or stand for. We are a small company whose sole mission is to support families, especially during their most vulnerable moments. We are so sorry that Brooklyn's experience with us did not reflect the care and compassion we strive to show every family. We hope that one person's misstep doesn't overshadow the hearts and efforts of an entire team working with love and devotion to protect babies and bring comfort to parents. So what do we think about that?
Sounds like a load of bullshit to me.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in that statement.
Yeah, I'm just like, for you guys to that quickly be like, well, you could give us the Snoo back. is when there's like an outstanding content deadline and they're like, well, other people have just told us they want to send it back. It's like, yeah, then wait for her. If the empty Snoo is bothering her, I promise you will hear from her regarding that situation if she wants you to come and pick it up. Definitely don't be like, oh God, I'm just going to email her myself.
Yeah.
Like,
I also don't believe that.
no. I
just don't think that's what happened.
No.
I think maybe there's a way, like the fact that they were like, well, we did ask for it back, but it was because we were being so thoughtful and so caring. It's like, oh, so you asked for it back, is what you're saying. And you're doing a cute little like PR spin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to come up with a reason for why asking for it back wouldn't be so bad. And this is the reason that you came up with.
And something that people pointed out is them saying, this is not who we are, but then also being like, but we did it for a good reason. It's like, so which one is it? Is it that you guys did it for a good reason, or this was a mistake that one person did? And you're also throwing your employee under the bus when I bet you, like you're saying, they're not getting money to be this cruel. They probably got it from fucking somebody high up.
Yeah.
And somebody who, again, you know what I mean? So it's just like, this is a crock of shit. Fuck you. So let's get to the backlash. So on Friday, March 21st, Kenna Banks, again, who has a bunch of fucking followers, uploaded more Instagram stories regarding the controversy. One clip, which is the next slide, showed her removing her own Snoo bassinet from her room and said, first things first, this thing is off to a woman's shelter. In another post, the influencer said, I can't stay silent about what that company made Brooklyn feel. I will never support a company like that, even if I used their product for all of my kids. Somehow, some information came out that Snoo had allegedly emailed Brooklyn's manager 6 times asking for the Snoo back. So that came out. So then people had shit to say, so we're just going to read some comments. The first comment goes, some people may want to remove things when they grieve, but if she wanted to return it, I'm sure she would have told the company.
Mm-hmm.
They should have let her make that decision, not made it for her.
Yep.
And that's from Susu.
Yeah.
The next comment, I'm sorry, 6 emails, 6, all because they, quote, wanted to help remove potential triggers for her. Like they would know how she was feeling. Another comment says, the company, quote, apologized by saying the sister is lying and overreacting on a pinned comment on a recent Instagram post. And then finally, the last comment said, boycott happiest baby. Case closed.
Yeah. Case fucking closed.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
6
emails is really, really bad.
I couldn't find proof of the 6 emails, but I'm sure that it was released like they wouldn't make that up, you know? And I feel like they feel like it's not that bad if they were reaching out to the manager. But sometimes with somebody, when somebody's fucking has 100,000 followers, they don't have like a huge infrastructure. Like it might be your husband that's their manager or somebody else. Like
Jay Jordan talks about this a lot, the follower inflation.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people used to think that 100,000 followers, which it is. 100,000 followers.
I don't have 100,000
That is a lot of followers, to be clear. But in the larger scope of social media and how numbers work now, 100K is actually
not that much.
No, it's not. And it's a thing that comes up when we do our like search histories on Patreon a lot, when we're talking about old internet stuff, where it's like, okay, so this got 2 million views, but what you have to understand is that 2 million views at this point in the internet, when there was no algorithms, no like easy sharing mechanisms, like this is 2 million views of people fucking emailing this shit to each other. It's very different view inflation for sure.
And it's also like desktop, which like now a lot of the world has phones.
Yeah.
So even like people in remote parts of the world have cell phones. So like it's just a lot more people that are online and have access to it versus like you had to literally be on your desktop. So yeah, 100,000. If we're talking about influencer marketing, 100,000 isn't that much. And it's not like somebody would have an entire infrastructure of management.
Exactly.
If you have 100,000
Also,
followers.
I can't think of any instance in which I would follow up with someone 6 times.
It's such a tragedy. It's all of that, but it's also like the story itself is crazy, but it's also just like this PR fumble. And when you view people not as people and human beings, but as content factories, content makers. Well, you didn't hit your content, you didn't hit your factory, like you didn't hit your agreement, you didn't hit what you said you were going to do, so you need to give it back. And it's just like,
it's also one thing when you sign a contract to be a scientist or be something that has kind of nothing to do with your person.
Exactly.
But when the business is you, as you were saying, something as authentic as pregnancy, which is, again, something that is happening to your living, breathing body. It's the fact that there's not sensitivity training around this is bonkers.
Yeah, and you're a company that like sells bassinets. Like it's just it's really, really, really wild. And it is even on like if you're thinking about things, you're just like cold hard numbers, no empathy at all. The risk to your brand of this getting out as it did, because it's such a outrageously like cold and callous thing to do, is so much bigger than the risk of like missing out on one piece of content from one Snoo with a lady with 100,000 followers, which as we described is probably not even the biggest level of influencer they're parlaying with, because they're so famous. Like they clearly, they're doing deals with people who have 1 million, 2 million followers as well. So it's like, you can let this one deal be put on pause for a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's crazy and sad and dark. And like two things, like, I don't think I ever heard, and maybe because I'm just not in those spaces, but like, I've heard only positive things about Snoo. I never heard anything bad about Snoo. So like, this really did damage the brand. And also like, this is not like the first time. I'm thinking of Kite Baby.
Yeah.
Like the first time that like a mommy forward business has like been completely insensitive to mothers. And it's like, because at a certain point, when you involve capitalism in human experiences, people are going to always think about dollars before people. And like,
Yeah. And if you guys want to know what Kite Baby is, we have an episode on the Patreon, but it was like a baby clothing company.
Yeah, like a bamboo baby clothing company.
That wasn't good to a worker who needed time off to deal with her sick baby. Very similar.
Their baby was in the NICU.
Yeah.
And they were like, fired her or something.
Yeah, they were like, you can't have any more time off. It's very similar vibes where it's like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, to switch gears.
Okay.
Now we're going to do cursed content.
Wow. We haven't done a cursed content in a while, I feel.
So cursed content, so it's a time where we highlight content that's cursed, that shows like a really disturbing, dark reality of humanity.
Great.
That is troubling, confusing, that's out there. And this one's interesting. You know, I feel like, women and vloggers started morning routines, and now it is moved on.
I think I know the exact
you know what we're talking about.
The way that I just saw you like activate, you're like, oh, I know what we're about to talk about
this.
So today we have a morning routine by a man named Ashton Hall, who's a former Alcorn State University football player turned life coach.
Okay.
And he has, like, as of now, nearly 9 million followers. And he originally put up a nearly 1.5 minute timestamp video back in February. However, recently, like this past weekend, it was recently posted on a, like, popular page dedicated to, like, men's success and, like, wins and fashion and life
those
tips.
Pages.
And it was
content in and of itself. Just like,
yeah. So it was, again, 100% sincere. And the caption says, day 191 of the morning routine that changed my life, from 3:50 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
No.
Sin lives late at night. If you're dealing with a weak mind, bad decision, or lack of productivity to go to sleep early, 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., no one's calling or distracting your productivity. They are asleep. 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. is the opposite. Just try it for 30 days. Send this to your partners. It's time to do better.
Millie, should we start doing podcast stuff at 4:00 in the morning?
We can't even meet at 10. Every time we say we're gonna meet at 10, we're like, okay, 1.
Yeah, we're doing later. Or also, I send you 25 texts at 10 because I'm like, I just had my coffee and my Adderall kicked in. Can you answer these 25 questions? And Millie's like, I haven't even wiped the sleep out of my eyes.
I'm gonna need 20 minutes. I'm gonna need 20 minutes.
Relax. And I'm like, sorry, I'm on amphetamine. Sorry.
Well, let's watch the video and react.
Please pay attention to the timestamps.
Yeah, it's 3:54 a.m. He's drinking water.
No, he's rinsing out water with serotonin.
Okay, 4 a.m. He's standing on his balcony doing push-ups.
So he breathes on his balcony for 20 minutes.
Yes, he sits at an empty desk.
We're going to be serious about the Lord's business.
Okay. Listen to a sermon. Puts ice and Saratoga water and dips his face into it. Then gets ready at 6:03 for a workout.
Okay, puts his rings and stuff on for the workout. Okay, now we're just following. Oh my God, he's running so fast. He runs so fast at 6:30 in the morning.
Okay, and then he spends 4 minutes in the air. I don't know if anyone caught that.
He dives in the pool, and the dive takes 4 minutes. Now he's out of the pool. He's back at the apartment showering.
Look at, he rubs his face with the banana.
He does rub his face with a banana peel. Oh my God.
We got to go ahead and get in at least 10,000.
He has some kind of meeting.
He has a faceless woman making him breakfast.
Yeah. A headless woman makes him breakfast. Her nails are really nice.
And when he's talking business, he goes, we got to get at least 10,000. Because that's what happens when you talk business, of course.
All my business meetings. Guys, why haven't we hit 10,000? Yeah.
I mean, I say that to Elise every time.
Yeah, that is.
We got to hit 10,000. We must hit 10,000.
Yeah, I kind of love how that whole thing takes place over the course of 5 hours and he does not do a single thing.
No, it is a wild amount of stuff. Like, he does dive into a pool for but I mean, you said the dive technically on the screen lasts for 4 minutes and then he's in the pool for 20 minutes and then he's out, he's back. I'm so confused about the contours of his house and his empty desk is so funny.
Well, for people listening, I'm just going to recap he wakes up at 3:52. From around 4 a.m. to 4:20, Hall then works out on his balcony before spending several minutes writing in his journal, watching motivational videos about Jesus, and plunging his face into a bowl of ice and bottled Saratoga water. It's important to know, the Saratoga water is important.
Yeah.
By 6 a.m., Hall was dressed in exercise clothes and headed to the gym to run on the treadmill. His second workout lasted until 7:30 a.m., when he then took a dip in a swimming pool before getting in a plunge pool. The influencer returned home to shower at 8:20 a.m., then snacked on a banana and wiped the fruit skin across his face, which some believe helps treat acne and hyperpigmentation.
Okay.
Hall dunked his face into a bowl of ice for a second time at 9 a.m. before sitting down at his laptop at 9:15 alongside some breakfast made by a faceless woman.
Of course.
This video got 684 million views. And I need you to know that Saratoga water is seeing a 1,379% increase in Google searches.
What?
Following the video, thanks to the influencer's ice water ritual.
Which, by the way, he does twice.
He dunks his face in ice water 2 times before 8 o'clock in the morning, which is just not how I'm living my life.
No.
Yeah, so we're just going to, read some comments that people have to say, which are things that you guys already pointed out. And then we'll talk about how cursed this is before we get to Grasshole. So, again, this was 2 screenshots, one at 7:36 a.m. Where he's diving, and then one at 7:40 a.m. where he goes in the pool. And at Escanor AKD said, bro was in the air for 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 whole minutes.
A 4-minute long dive.
A 4-minute long dive.
But not just the dive itself was not 4 minutes. It was the air levitation.
Yeah, exactly. from the leap to when his hands are touching the water, that takes 4 minutes.
And that is aspirational.
Yeah, that is actually, I would love to know more about that.
Well, at 7:52, the next thing people pointed out is that he gets into the plunge pool, but then you see a sign that says no diving. So he broke the rules of the pool.
No diving where you're suspended in air for 4 full minutes and everyone has to be like, what the fuck is going on and what's happening at the pool?
Yeah, so then another comment says, dude's been up for 2 hours and did a few push-ups and mainly stared into the mirror. Which, again, was the first 2 hours of the content.
Yeah.
And that's from @TrueNashWay. But again, I think not, before we stand True Nash Way, I think he does pay for Twitter. So
that is
important.
can move on.
True Nash Way, you don't have to be doing that.
Yeah. Next comment is it's a still image of him doing a squat, and it's at 4:17 a.m. on his balcony. Someone says, at Rilo the Ken says, not the 4 a.m. twerk session.
I will say that like the lighting on his balcony is very purple. It's like bisexual lighting on the balcony, so it's very purple and sexy. It's like what you would see at a wedding. So it does gives it like a club-like energy on the balcony.
Yeah, so people have like superimposed, I don't have the picture of it, but people do have, put like photoshopped him in heels and a stripper pole in this, but that's not part of this discourse. Somebody says watch on in the shower, not getting talked about enough.
Yeah, he does have his watch fully on in the shower.
Yeah.
Someone else said, please Twitter, stop sharing the video of the muscular black man with the world's most miserable morning routine. You know how this works. You'll accidentally make him popular. Then he'll start a podcast, sell courses, and maybe a crypto scam.
Is he not already doing all of those things?
I think he's already doing it. So.
If he's a life coach, then he's definitely
doing at least one.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely selling courses and probably has a podcast of some kind. Yeah. Crypto scam incoming. For sure.
Incoming. I will say, too, that what has happened, obviously, like, now every single thing on Twitter is referencing this. What's happening now is that, again, the Ashton Hall is a big muscular black man. What's happening now is that we're seeing this kind, like there's a white version of this. There's an Asian version, a Latino version. There's also a black guy who is also muscular that has a rival morning routine that is, people are saying it's kind of like a cipher battle because he wakes up, but he wakes up with a red light mask on. Like he has.
I've seen the screenshots of the red light mask on guy because I've seen this video going around online, and then I think I've started to see.
We're seeing mutations.
The mutations, of course. Yeah.
Wait, tag yourself. Which part of the video do you think you are?
Oh,
ooh, that's such a good question.
I'm diving in the pool.
I'm levitating in the air for 4 minutes.
Diving in the pool for 4 minutes. You know what? I'm rubbing a banana peel on.
I was exactly gonna say, Elise, you are so rubbing a banana peel. You so read somewhere that rubbing a banana peel, which people came out and were like, hey, not too much on the banana peel because that is real. That is science.
Like to be truly honest, if I saw that on Pinterest enough times, I would probably rub a banana peel on my face. So I'm definitely rubbing a banana peel on my face. Ruby, what are you?
I think I'm most definitely, we got to get to 10,000 because I have that intensity. And I also sometimes am just saying words that have no meaning. Yeah. I don't even know what I'm saying.
I see that
just kind of talking to talk.
Well, we got to get to 10,000 has sound potential. Yeah. I feel like that could definitely go far. It's like becoming something that people talk about because I do feel like now when we're having discussions about like podcast numbers, I'm going to be like, well, we got to get to 10,000.
I will just say that like people are sharing things of like a grocery shopping cart with just Saratoga and bananas. And it's like, I'm going to get to 10,000 whether you like it or not. You know what I'm doing. I just will say too, again, in defense of the banana peel, skincare Twitter is like, no, guys, banana peels are in a lot of our skincare products and all this stuff.
That's honestly the most believable part of all of it is rubbing a banana peel on your face, to me personally. I also do know that dumping your head in ice water is supposed to have benefits. I'm not doing that twice before 8 o'clock in the morning.
And probably not with bottled water.
No, yeah, I'm probably just going to use the Brita. And maybe give it a little
tap water.
Yeah.
I think you can use tap in New York.
Yeah, New York
in New York, I can use the tap.
Well, we got fluoride here still. Sorry, Oregon. Sorry, Utah.
Yeah, in Utah, maybe I'm putting it through the Brita. I'm putting not trying to get measles, mumps, etc.
Yeah. Well, that's our cursed content.
All right.
It was cursed.
It was cursed.
It was very cursed.
It was very cursed. And now on to our final segment of the week, Ruby. This is our segment called Grasshole of the Week, where we declare the person who needs to log off the most. I have a feeling, given the nature of your work, you're going to have heard of this person.
Okay.
Because this person's story has been percolating for a while now. I considered including it last week as a dispatch from the Animal Kingdom, which is our viral animal report. But
Elisa's on the ground. When I tell you that's Elisa's beat,
yeah.
Elisa's like, Millie, there's a viral
There's a new
fish.
animal.
There's a viral fish. I'm like, listen to this baby daddy drama from this C-list. And Elisa's like, there's a viral pigeon.
A lizard.
There's a lizard.
There's a lizard that we gotta talk about. But what I realized about this story is really the animal is not the center of the story.
Wow.
The human is the center of the story.
Wow.
And for that reason, it is our Grasshole. This week's Grasshole is American influencer Sam Jones. She also goes by the name Samantha Strable. Can't figure out why, but she's alternately called both. You guys may know her as the American influencer in Australia who stole a wombat. Have you heard about her?
I have heard about this.
See, this is not my FYP.
Okay, this has been international news, Millie. This is actually a major incident diplomatically between the United States and Australia. Shit has gone down because this woman stole a wombat. So we'll start with background on her and then we'll get into the wombat-related situations. Jones has 96.2 thousand followers on Instagram under the handle @samstrays_somewhere. She either doesn't have a TikTok or has deleted her TikTok because I can't find it. And all the articles I was reading only referenced her Instagram. So she either wasn't a major presence there or has since deleted the TikTok as a result of everything we're about to talk about now. She describes herself as an outdoor enthusiast and hunter and wildlife biologist. So this is her page. White girl out in the woods. She's holding a fish. She's holding a deer. She's in various beautiful locations. You guys get the vibe.
Yeah.
That's the vibe. She only follows 96 people, 96.2 thousand followers. So why is she Grasshole? I'm going to let the Australian news explain it to us.
Stealing a wombat joey from its mother. The video, which has since been deleted from social media, shows the woman walking away with the baby while the mother runs after her. And a warning, some people will find this video distressing.
Caught a baby wombat. Oh. Look at the mother. It's like, oh, it's chasing after her.
I got a baby wombat. Hi. Okay, Mama's right there, and she is pissed.
Let's let him go.
So let's describe what we just watched.
Well, we just watched someone be really stupid publicly for some reason, like letting us see one of their worst moments.
Yeah.
This is a thing about the internet, that people will record themselves doing something so beyond even comprehension and be like, yeah, like people should see this.
Yeah, no, this is good. So basically it's like a girl in a cute flowy dress. They're stopped by the side of the road. I don't know who the Australian videographer behind all of this is. I don't think he's actually getting enough heat in this story.
Well, and they thought it was so funny too.
He's going, look at the mother. And like the wombat is screaming. She picks it up off the side of the road. She's like holding it up like Michael Jackson with his baby over that balcony. Like the wombat is screaming. The mother wombat is screaming. They're laughing. That's the end of the video. So Jones posted this with the caption, "My dream of holding a wombat has been realized. Baby and mom slowly waddled back off together in the bush." This sparked international outrage. If you couldn't get from the tone already of them being like, this footage might be distressing. Just coming from a country where it's like we see school shootings on the news all the time, it is very funny to be like, look away if you cannot handle the wombat footage. This goes mega viral in Australia, kind of for two reasons. Number one, Australia does not fuck around when it comes to wombats, wildlife in general. They do not play about that. In Australia, wombats are protected under the National Parks and Wildlife Act, meaning it is illegal to kill, catch, restrain, or injure them without a permit.
Without a permit.
I know. I'm like, oh, with a permit. We'll get into it, but I don't really know what the permit would be for.
I think like sometimes they give like some political people, whatever, a special license, but really no.
Yeah, I think it could be one of those things where like if the populations of wombats gets out of control in a particular area, then maybe you're allowed to hunt them.
But they don't hunt there. They coexist.
Yeah.
It's it's not, it's most certainly not America.
No, it's not. And I have a friend who lives out there and like grew up out there, is like American, but also has lived out there for a long time. And he told me that there's like a fairly famous children's book called Don't Pat the Wombat out there. So it's from a young age. They're saying, don't pat the wombat, don't fuck with the wombats, leave the fauna of this great nation alone.
Yeah, because like some animals, you touch them and then the mom rejects them and it like fucks up with their ecosystem and imprinting and all that shit. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. There's like, that's what I've always heard as to why you shouldn't like pick up a baby bird or like whatever. Because if your like human smell gets on them, they might be like,
scared.
Yeah, they might be like, something's wrong with the baby, so I have to like let it die or whatever.
Hashtag Peanut the Squirrel.
Hashtag Peanut the Squirrel.
R.I.P.
We've talked about so many viral animals who've met a terrible end. Hopefully this wombat is okay. She says, according to her, the wombat and the mom went back off, whatever. So hopefully it was just kind of like a weird traumatizing incident for the wombat, but that it's ultimately going to be okay. Also, another thing to note is that social media has revealed that Australia does have like a one-sided beef with the United States.
I mean, you know,
and
that's fair.
Yeah,
we have a beef with Canada for some reason.
Yeah, it's a very similar vibe where it's like, wait, why do we have beef with them? What's happening? Yeah. But it was like over the Olympics that it started to come out that Australia was like really competing hard with us over how we count our medals, and we were like, well, we're beating you in both types of counts. So I don't know what the anger is here.
Australia also with the Olympics and ray gun, they're going through a lot.
Yeah, they went through.
What about ray gun being Australian?
Yeah. Oh, she was Australian.
You guys know I have Australian citizenship.
What?
Wow,
isn't that
you
crazy?
Gotta get over there.
Where's the article on that, bitch? Yeah,
like,
where's the article on that?
I know. I don't know why, but it was from when I was a baby, so I don't know if it still matters.
I mean, citizenship is citizenship. I mean, not here.
God, thank you for that. Yeah. No, I know. I was talking to, because my dad's side of the family's Australian. And so I was talking to my grandparents like over the summer before this happened. And like the judgments cast on Americans, it's like, you're 100% right. There was beefs that I'd never even heard of. It's they're talking about us. It's
they're talking about us.
It's like that Mad Men meme where it's like, I feel sorry for you. And it's like, I don't think about you at all. Yeah. That is very representative
They're
to
very
me.
Obsessed with what we're doing, what we're up to, how we're bad tourists. We don't do this. Our government sucks. It's not even stuff that's wrong. I'm just like, but you're obsessed.
The whole country is white people, so like, let's relax. Except for like not,
But anyway, they do have a one-sided beef with America, and I think that in general, an American influencer being an asshole in this very specific way to wildlife of Australia is a story that is the ultimate rage bait for Australia. Do you guys remember many years ago, obviously once I give the details, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp had to apologize to the people of Australia because they snuck in their dog through like quarantine rules, and Australia was like, fuck that. You can't bring random animals in here. We're here to protect the animals that are Australian animals. And they had to give like a 2-camera apology, like very like Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher in front of that wall being
God.
We're really sorry that we snuck in our dog.
I'm going to say, I mean, for someone who we've covered her in the past, it doesn't take much for Azalea Banks to beef with a country. But she does have beef with Australia, too.
Yeah.
So, again, here's one country that already off rip doesn't like Americans. And then we have the most intense one saying, whatever she said, whatever.
I'm sure that Azalea Banks went toe-to-toe.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, also, she said that Maddie Healy has White Castle onion teeth. So I'm dying to know what she said about Australia.
You know what? Put a pin in that because I that's not included in our doc, but it would certainly be interesting. So, okay. This got so big that the literal Prime Minister of Australia has responded to the incident. So we are going to watch what he had to say.
To take a baby wombat from its mother and clearly causing distress from the mother is just an outrage. And, I suggest to this so-called influencer, maybe she might try some other Australian animals. Take a baby crocodile from its mother and see how you go there.
God.
Take another animal that can actually fight back rather than stealing a baby wombat from its mother. See how you go there.
He said, "Kill yourself." Like, he literally was like, "I hope you die."
A crocodile, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, that is such a intense,
most intense response from the Prime Minister. This isn't like a news. This is literally the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, and kind of a little old man, and he's like, "See how you go there." I'm like, "Oh my God, he's gonna fight her." Like, this is crazy. It's up at the top echelons of government. This is clearly a press conference too that he said this out. Like, he had to make a statement about the wombat situation because it was going so far. An online petition asking for Jones to be deported gained 40,000 signatures. And the Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke, came out and basically said he was going to look into revoking her visa and straight up deporting her for the wombat situation. So again,
this is just I think, again, we got to advocate for animals and everything, but I'm like, America separates families. Like,
no, I'm like,
can you imagine? Immigrants and stuff, and these people don't give a fuck. So I'm like, the energy that these people have about wombats being separated from their children for 5 minutes, I'm also like, okay.
Can you imagine if the biggest news story of the week had anything to do with an animal or
oh
just
God.
Anything beyond one of the million atrocities happening right now?
I know. The news here is so absolutely disturbing on every single level. In the Uber on our way here, I read an article about how the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth accidentally included a random reporter on a text group thread that had war plans in it. Actual military plans.
Really the dumbest thing people. I'm thinking the last time was probably Harambe, and people were like,
I mean, Mudang. Mudang had a time.
That's global. That wasn't a U.S. animal.
But the Prime Minister wishing death on another citizen, it's.
But I will say that Peanut the Squirrel got Donald Trump. J.D. Vance said something about Peanut the Squirrel.
That's true.
And Donald Trump. Supposedly, he said Donald Trump said that it wasn't cool what they did to Peanut.
So I guess, Peanut the Squirrel did break through in that way, but even still, not this high of a level.
No.
So she eventually does post a text statement to Instagram story. This is just one of several stories, but I wanted you guys to see it, to see that it is formatted as if it is a press release.
Yeah.
So it says up top, press release for immediate release. My official statement regarding the wombat incident of February 1st, because it's written in the backwards. It looks to us like January 1st, but actually it means February 1st because it's written in the non-American way, which again, I say the month gives context to the day. Yeah. The month should be first. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, listen, Americans suck. I'll concede that, whatever, but we did get the month thing.
Yeah, month gives context to the day, for sure. But anyway, and I'll stand 10 toes down. I'll talk to that Prime Minister.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the date to a crocodile's mouth? Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I am going to read the full statement. A reminder, this is one of several Instagram stories, so it's lengthy. This statement is provided in full and should not be excerpted or altered without permission. So again, that is why I'm reading the full statement for her request.
Wow.
This is the only public statement I have made regarding to this incident. When we found the mother and Joey on the road, not moving, I was extremely concerned. As wombats are so often hit on Australian roads, I stopped to ensure that they got off the road safely and didn't get hit. However, as is seen from the video, when I walked up to them, the Joey did not move or run off. I was concerned it may have been sick or injured and made a snap judgment to pick up the Joey and see if it was the case. I ran, not to rip the Joey away from its mother, but from fear that she might attack me. The snap judgment I made in these moments was never from a place of harm or stealing a Joey. While I was unbelievably excited to see such an amazing animal, I looked it over quickly and immediately returned it to its mother. I ensured that the mother and Joey did reunite, went off the road together, and that they got off the road. I have done a great deal of reflection on this situation and have realized that I did not handle the situation as best I could have. Regardless, my only intent was to prevent these amazing animals from being hit and making sure that Joey wasn't in need of immediate care. I have learned from this situation and am truly sorry for the distress I have caused. I want to make it absolutely clear that this was never about social media or getting likes. This was not staged, nor was it done for entertainment. In my excitement and concern, I acted too quickly and then failed to provide necessary context to viewers online. Am I a villain? Things, dear reader, are not as they seem. Over holding a wombat, thousands threatened my life.
Including the prime minister.
I mean, we did actually. Sometimes we question how much of a threat people have gotten, but we did hear the prime minister say threaten to tell her to get bit by a crocodile.
but this is actual.
We did see it. We said it. It came from the government
on a mass scale. Yeah.
Let me be clear. These same people ought to understand the reality of Australia today. For the readers that are so angered by my mistaken attempt to help and that I am a hunter, do not be blind to your country. Let's start with wombats. The Australian government allows and permits the slaughter of wombats.
Oh, no.
Thousands each year are shot, poisoned
She's
to suffer,
doubling down.
and trapped legally. Landowners rip up wombat burrows with heavy machinery, poison them with fumigation, and shoot them whenever they can.
Wow.
Quietly, of course, so as not to face the wrath that has come upon me.
Wow.
His statement is so... Guys, we have like 4 more Instagram stories.
No, we can't.
Why, might you ask, do they kill them? Well, to feed you. The landowner is trying to survive, to raise you, the lamb, for your dinner table.
Wait, this is an audition monologue.
I really think that I'm going to start performing
monologues
this.
for women.
The grapes for your wine and the produce for your salads. Wombats get in the way of this, though, by putting their holes in tunnels across the land, creating hazard for livestock. And
what are you talking about?
And she's really taking a lot of leaps. And turning up the ground to eat roots. The wombat knows no better, as it, too, is merely trying to survive. Your government further spends tens of millions of taxpayer dollars annually to fly around in helicopters and shoot beautiful horses, deer, and pigs out its windows.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
A swift death is often not afforded to these animals. The Australian Government Department of Agriculture's research showed a percentage of animals end up painfully wounded and stated animal welfare outcomes could be improved with a national-level standard operating procedure requiring helicopters to fly back over shot animals and repeatedly shoot animals in the head or thorax. Sound kind to you? Survival for these animals can become near impossible, and their lives are a constant state of fear. Their carcasses are left out on your public lands to rot. Your Snowy River and Kosciuszko National Park brumbies are being slaughtered by the thousands on your dime. Speak to your Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, about that.
Oh, my God.
Guys, there's more.
She's not done?
No.
Oh, no, she's not done. Loving the National Parks and Wildlife Service of Australia while being angered at me for killing feral deer for food is hypocrisy at its finest. Because I get people were coming at her for being a hunter in general. How about the beloved kangaroo, the national animal on your coat of arms? In the last 20 years, approximately 90 million kangaroos and wallabies have been legally slaughtered for commercial purposes, and that number is not slowing down. Millions are legally killed each year. Are they not deserved of your government's protection as a native species? If you don't believe me, take a look around the next time you go to Woolworths, where you will see kangaroo flesh sold as both pet and human food. I don't know.
These are fighting words.
But also, like, that is true.
No.
They ate kangaroo on Summer House last week.
Wow. Okay.
They ate kangaroo at an Australian
You know
restaurant.
what?
There's an Australian restaurant in New York City, and you can get kangaroo.
That's so sad.
She's spitting.
This is her conclusion. You see, as sad as it is, most of humanity selfishly cares far more about ourselves than we do the natural world. In many articles, it was suggested that I go see a wombat in a zoo instead. Let's be clear. Breeding and keeping wild animals in captivity to be imprisoned in a zoo for our gawking pleasure is a sin far more egregious than holding one for a moment in an effort to help. While the Prime Minister wishes harm on me for picking up a wombat, I implore you to take a good hard look at what is currently being done in Australia surrounding the real issues it faces. The lack of power for tens of thousands of Aussies, the treatment of its native wildlife. Then, decide for yourself if I, a person who has certainly made mistakes, am really your villain.
Oh my God, she came for the entire country.
She clapped
crazy.
back at every level of Australian government. She said the prime minister by name. She said, as you threaten me, you kill thousands, you eat kangaroos.
Yeah.
Their flesh lines the walls of your grocery stores. I'm like, whoa.
She's spitting. I feel like, you know what? Every American woman has a Karen inside of her that is waiting to be activated. I would say the first page, I was like, it's giving Snoo. It's giving
I was saying it was giving Snoo.
It was giving Snoo. I was like, I did it to be nice, but then she went in. She went in on the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
She said, don't you dare criticize me.
She said, I've done my research.
Look inwards.
It is truly like the statement takes such a sharp turn after the initial apology, which, by the way, she's like gleefully running up to this wombat screaming, I've got a baby wombat, I've got a baby wombat. Like, you're not.
She's not protecting that wombat at all.
She was not trying to protect the wombat. The wombat was also clearly on the side of the road when she grabbed it.
But I'm also like, I get it. I mean, people shouldn't say that she should die.
No.
When you said she stole a baby wombat, I thought she picked up the baby wombat and flew back to America with it and like raised it and then became an influencer from it. But she picked up the baby wombat, which isn't great. It's not cool. But she put it back. She said it went back. Okay, but I get like how Australia is, but if the prime minister is telling her this, she probably is getting insane crazy people in her DMs.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, she's like the number one villain of Australia for the wombat scenario that took place. I don't buy her saying that she wanted to help the wombat. I do imagine that she could not have possibly thought of the reaction, though I will say Australia is pretty famously intense about their wildlife related stuff.
But as she's saying, she's like, how intense are they when people eat kangaroo meat? They just like they kill wombats accidentally. Like they're not everybody who's killed a wombat has filled out a fucking permit and also are coming at her for hunting deer when like other Australians probably hunt too. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of circling around. I'm like, she's spitting.
No, she was like, if you're going to come for me and what I did, you better look at what you've done.
Yeah. You're going to threaten me to pick up a baby crocodile? Well, I'm going to come with the receipts. It is the most intensely written group of statements. Now, it turns out that this post was posted after she voluntarily left Australia.
Yeah,
so
she
it's
never
like
go back.
She left and then posted this. She has also since deleted this. I mean, it was a story, so I don't know if she just let it expire. I'm actually not sure. I think this was actually, it was made in story, but it was posted as a swipe through carousel, and then she deleted that because it was linked in a couple posts, and then when I went to get it, it was like post not available. So she clearly put it up in a more permanent way, then took it down. Her Instagram now looks like what I showed you before, though, of course, all comments are off. They're majorly off. And the Home Affairs Minister said that after she left the country, because, yes, the government has also had to make a second statement assuring everyone that this woman is gone. She will no longer terrorize the nation's wombats. Everyone is safe. The wombats are safe. That if she were to come back to Australia, she could face legal action. So she's kind of effectively banned from Australia.
I mean, she went out with a bang. Yeah. She probably knew. She made it so hot for herself. I mean, again, would I do this? Would I pick up a wild animal?
No.
I'll say this. I've driven through US 1 in South Florida, and there was a turtle that was crossing a major highway, and I picked up the turtle, and I carried it to, like, a lake.
Yeah.
And, like, so I'm like, I would have probably helped an animal cross the street, so I'm not going to be like, I would never. But would I clap back at the entire continent of Australia? No.
I think that's awesome.
I think it is awesome, yeah.
I do feel like this is such a bang to go out on. Like, there is respect due. Again, I don't think it was good to pick up the wombat. I also feel like if you were actually legitimately saving the wombat, then the content that you would post would be like helping this baby wombat get out of the road, and you would just post yourself like picking it up and moving it, not grabbing it from the side of the road, running towards your car, holding it, screaming, I have a wombat, with the caption,
the mom screaming,
reached my dream of holding a wombat. Like, let's be real. But I mean, an epic way to get yourself banned from Australia forever.
I feel like, I'm kind of standing a little bit.
You're so do you
She is a grasshole.
She is a grasshole.
She is a grasshole, right? Like, absolutely.
But it's a loving go touch grass?
I'm not even, but I'm just saying, like, I do have to respect it. It's also just like, she needs to log off. I'm also like, if you're going to put out this statement, you need to stand in it and not delete it.
Well,
She's
that's
a coward
true.
for deleting it.
That's true, because it's like to come this hard and be like, why don't you Prime Minister Anthony Albanese talk about that and then delete it?
Delete
when it's
it,
like,
that's weak.
How did you think this was going to be received?
Yeah,
you know
it wasn't
going to
be received good.
Yeah.
But like, stand 10 tones down.
Stand 10 tones down because you really came for it.
Okay.
And Mrs. Azalea Banks, she's a grasshole that, whatever, but I'm like, she'd never delete it.
No, she would never
she
delete
stands
it.
by what she said.
I do think if you're going to put out a statement of this with this ferocity, you have to leave it up for at least a week. Like this, like we're recording on March 24th. This went up March 14th. So like
it hadn't even been 10 days.
Like you gotta leave this up for a month at least.
Yeah.
Like maybe eventually you can archive the post, but you can't be within 10 days the post is deleted. So Sam Jones, for the crime of stealing a baby wombat from its mother, posting to the gram, making a honestly iconic official statement, but then deleting the official statement, we must say, go touch grass. And that's the end of our episode, Ruby. You were the best. You were as wonderful as we could have imagined. Tell all of our listeners where they can find you, where they can see your show, all the stuff.
If you are in New York, my off-Broadway show, I Don't Trust Adults, is playing at Soho Playhouse from March 26th through May 3rd. And you can find me on social platforms at Ruby Karp, with a K, not a C.
And, again, you said that your show is about your beef with Mark Zuckerberg.
Famously, one of my beefs, yeah.
One of your beefs with Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
You have many more.
I have many more.
Guys, Ruby's just one of the best and funniest. I would highly recommend going to check out the show. You can follow us at Go Touch Grass Pod on everything. You can follow me at Pandalise on Instagram and Elise Navidad on TikTok.
You can follow me at Millie_Tamaris on Instagram and TikTok, and at Millie Tamaris on Twitter, Blue Sky, Lemonade, all this shit. Who cares? I don't know.
And until next time,
go touch grass!
That was a HeadGum podcast.
Hey, I'm Wayne Brady. And I'm Jonathan Mangum. And we're two big improv nerds who get a chance to play and make stuff up on shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Or Let's Make a Deal.
And we're now hosting a new improvised show called What If on the HeadGum Podcast Network.
And on What If, we believe that improvisation is a conversation. So we get to have conversations with guests from the worlds of TV, film, tech, and literature. Guests like Bobby Moynihan, Aisha Tyler, LeVar Burton, and Adam Conover. We ask them the big, ridiculous questions like, what if you hurt a monkey's feelings?
What if your grandma was a secret agent?
What if Jonathan was invited to the cookout?
I'm not.
And then we turn the conversation into spontaneous scenes, songs, well, because that's what we do.
Subscribe to What If on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and watch episodes on YouTube.
No script, no net, just what if.